Microphone, gotta put it on.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
All right,
Okay.
you guys can start the meeting.
Okay, I'd like to call to order the Public Works Committee meeting. Roll call, please.
Alderman Jacob,
Here.
Alderman Sorrentino,
Here.
Alderman Woods,
Here.
Alderman Sismarski,
Here.
Alderman Roy Wesley, Alderman Eugene Wesley,
Here.
Alderman Catalano,
Here.
and Alderman Messina. Or I'm
Here.
sorry,
Okay, we have a quorum. Need approval of the minutes for April 9th, 2020, Public
So
Works
moved.
Committee meeting.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any corrections? I'm sorry. If there's no corrections, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Okay, so next is a report and recommendation. Hello?
Any opposed?
Any opposed? Right.
No.
None, right. So next is the authorization report recommendation for the authorization for the city to negotiate with the highest ranking firm for Phase 1 engineering services for Elizabeth Drive Bridge over Salt Creek for replacement and rehabilitation. Director Land, do you want to touch on that real fast?
I will. Thank you, Chairman. Give me just a minute as I share my screen here.
Wow.
Is everyone able to see my
Yeah.
presentation here?
Good job, Alan. Yes.
Okay, so tonight we will be discussing Phase 1 engineering for Elizabeth Drive Bridge over Salt Creek. Start with a brief history of the bridge. It was constructed in 1973. It is a 3-span structure, which in the crash course of structural engineering essentially means it's separated into 3 different sections which are independently supported. It is a reinforced concrete deck over metal stay-in-place forms supported by twin steel girders 30 feet apart. These girders are classified as fracture critical, which means the loss of one would result in collapse of the bridge. The bridge is in a deteriorated condition and has a substandard geometry with that slight shift to the south on the approach. The latest sufficiency rating of 47.9 makes it eligible for STP bridge funding. Here you'll see some photos of the existing condition of the bridge, the deteriorating condition of the metal decking on the underside, as well as the steel girders. Here you'll see how the existing geometry creates a blind curve as you approach the bridge. You also see how the unprotected sidewalk creates a hazardous condition for pedestrians. Getting to the RFQ process, the use of federal funds means that we have to follow IDOT's qualification-based selection criteria. Requests for qualifications were publicly advertised. 7 firms turned in submittals. These submittals were turned in without any type of cost information. Rather, they're scored based on the firm's technical approach, experience, specialized expertise, staff capabilities, and past performance. The RFP steering committee discussed the submittals, shortlisted the top 3 rated firms. You'll see them there in the bottom right corner in order, and made a recommendation that staff begin negotiations with the top rated firm. If a scope and fee can't be agreed upon with the top-rated firm, staff will engage the next ranked consultant in a similar manner. Phase 1 scope includes preliminary engineering and environmental studies. The firm will explore options for rehabilitation or replacement. They will investigate the potential for realignment of the bridge to improve safety. They will assist with the procurement of federal funding. They will identify any underlying environmental impacts related to the bridge. They will explore the potential for cost-sharing partnership with any outside agencies, which I will discuss further in a minute. At the conclusion of Phase 1, the city will have the option to retain the selected consultant for Phase 2 or Phase 3 and negotiate those separately. Moving on to the potential cooperative with the Forest Preserve District. The Forest Preserve has a pedestrian bridge located just north of Elizabeth Drive, which they are looking to remove from their roster. The fact that we are replacing a bridge at the same time presents a unique opportunity to partner with them. The idea would be to extend the existing 10-foot multi-purpose path that is located on Addison Road down Elizabeth Drive to the east to the Forest Preserve entrance, and eventually look to extend that path all the way to Wooddale Road. This is mutually beneficial to both agencies and requires a nice new path for our residents, as well as assist with the needed land acquisition from the Forest Preserve to complete the bridge project. So our recommendation tonight, the recommendation of staff and the RFP Steering Committee, is that the Public Works Committee authorize staff to negotiate with the highest ranked firms for Phase 1 engineering services for Elizabeth Drive Bridge over Salt Creek for the rehabilitation replacement project. I'd be glad to answer any questions you might have.
Okay, I'll make that motion to go ahead.
Second.
And one question, when will an estimated start date on that be?
So it's estimated that Phase 1, 2, and 3 engineering will take us into probably at the earliest 2022, with construction beginning sometime around 2022, 2023.
Hey, Tony,
Okay, Go ahead.
I have a question. Alderman Eugene. The SPT funding, where does that come from? Does that come from the state?
That comes from the feds. It is administered through the DuPage Mayors and Managers Conference and IDOT.
Okay, but Tony, can I do a follow-up?
Go ahead.
So we have to get approval from them before we move forward with this, or no?
Go ahead.
Yes, they've programmed us in for funding. We have to follow their criteria now in order to receive the funds.
You don't know how much funding it is, do you?
We don't have exact cost figures at the moment. The bridge construction itself is estimated to be in the area of $2.5 million.
Okay.
I have a comment.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I believe the grant funding is going to be, while we don't know the exact amount per se, I believe it should be 80% of the final cost. And then in addition to the 80% that we'll get from the grant, we also, as Director Lang will probably mention a little bit on, is we are working with the DuPage County Forest Preserve District, who is interested in financially partnering with us on this project as well. So we would have to work out a separate IGA with them down the road.
Okay.
Any other questions out there? If there's no other questions, I'll make them. Well, we got the motion. We got the second.
Second.
Roll call.
Alderman Sorrentino,
Yes.
Alderman Jacob,
Yes.
Alderman Woods,
Yes.
Alderman Sizmarsky,
Yes.
Alderman Eugene Wesley,
Yes.
Alderman Catalano,
Yes.
Alderman Messina.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Next is approval of report recommendation of approval of agreement between the City of Wooddale and Robinson Engineering for management of industrial pretreatment program for the year ending 2021 in the amount not to exceed $123,000. That is my motion.
Second. I have one question, Tony, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
So, look, I thought when we did this before, we signed a 3-year contract with that.
Go ahead.
Anyone answer that?
I don't believe that's the case. We approved a contract last year for the pretreatment program for right around the same price as we are doing this year also. It's for a 12-month period.
All right. And what was the dollar amount again?
$123,000.
Thank you.
Tony, can I say something?
Yes, go ahead, Mayor.
Just so in case everybody was wondering, the 123,000, there was 2 extra items because I questioned why we went up when we were only at 76,000. So there are 2 extra items that need to be done this coming year where they didn't have to be done last year. Is that correct, Mr. Lane?
That is correct, yes. It's related to the CMOM report and then the industrial user survey were those additional costs.
Hey,
Go ahead.
Tony, can I ask you another question? So
Yes.
my question is, those two extra things is that's what the state requires, right?
Mr. Lang, you want to answer that?
Yes, they are required. Brett's on the line if he wants to go into further detail, but these are ongoing tasks. They were began last year, and these are just costs associated with continuing those. But Brett, if you want to chime in with anything, feel free.
Yes, so for our industrial pretreatment, we actually report to the federal government. We actually have a federal audit going on right now. So it is actually, for whatever reason, most of our permits are governed by the state, but this is under the feds, and they do require these things that you had asked about, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse me.
Go
Can I be
ahead.
recognized again, Tony?
Go ahead, Mayor.
I apologize. I just realized, so in the minutes, when we approved the minutes, there was a mistake in the minutes. I had it in my iPad and not on my home computer here. When we took the vote on the decorations, we showed 2 of item number 1, the Happy Holidays. We only did 1 of those, 1 of the ornaments, and 2 of the presents. So we have 1 extra item in the minutes that needed to be corrected. I apologize because I'm working off my home computer instead of my iPad, and I just happened to open up my iPad and my notes sitting right in between. And we needed an adjustment on the total. Sorry.
Okay.
So Jeff, can we fix that next week, correct that, or that should have been done already, right?
Well, like I said, though, at the council meeting, we had the correct amount. So this is just fixing the committee meeting minutes.
Okay.
Tony, could I be recognized?
Yes, you can, Pete. Mr. Peter Jacob, right? Yeah.
Yes,
Go
thank
ahead.
you. I have a question for Brett. It talks about the businesses that have to comply with this and the industrial users. Do we have any idea how many industrial users there are that have to comply with this? Because this is like for specialty industrial users. It's not for everybody in the industrial park. Is that correct?
So how they do this, if it's okay to speak, they send it. We're trying to find out if there's new people that could be discharging. So we actually blanket. Robinson actually blankets letters out to every business, and then most of them are reviewed. That they wouldn't be just the chance of discharging everything. But I think the idea of is that what the federal government wants is that if somebody comes out on as a new business and there's a chance they could be discharging that could have environmental impact, they want to check. So they actually start with a very large base and then work their way down.
Do we know how many, sorry, Tony, could I continue?
Go ahead.
Do we know how many businesses there are that actually do have to comply, like in the past?
We do. In fact, we just sent a report to the government on all of them. So we could forward that list to you. It's a fair amount of them. I didn't count them, but we actually have to do like an annual report that's due like actually in just a few days. And it shows every business that does comply. I'm just not aware of the exact number right now.
Okay, if I could maybe if you could send that report to us, just so we're aware of it.
Absolutely.
Okay, any more questions?
Nope, thank you.
Okay. So we have a motion and we have a second, correct?
Yep.
Okay, roll call, please.
Alderman Sorrentino,
Yes.
Alderman Jacob,
Yes.
Alderman Woods,
Yes.
Alderman Sizmarsky,
Yes.
Alderman Eugene Wesley,
Yes.
Alderman Catalano,
Yes,
and Alderman Messina.
Yes.
motion carries. Next is report and recommendation for approval of an agreement between the City of Wooddale and Robinson Engineering for the 2020 risk resiliency assessment in the amount not to exceed $37,300. That is my motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions?
Nope.
If there are no questions, can we have a roll call, please?
Alderman Sorrentino,
Yes.
Alderman Jacob,
Yes.
Alderman Woods,
Yes.
Alderman Sismarski,
Yes.
Alderman Eugene Wesley,
Yes.
Alderman Catalano,
Yes.
Alderman Messina.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next is items to consider at future meetings. We have engineering standards. It's coming up in May. Do we have any other to be considered?
I have one that should go on this. Well, actually, this might be for building and zoning. Yeah, I'm sorry, it is for building and zoning.
Oh, you can bring it up too, right?
Well, I'll wait till the building and zoning meeting.
Okay. If there are no other items to consider for future meetings, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you very much. God bless America.
Stay safe.